Welcome back. A big shakeup on the U.S. Supreme Court that could transform the High Court for decades. 81-year-old Justice Anthony Kennedy will be retiring at the end of July, giving President Trump his second opportunity to fill a vacancy on the court with a young conservative. President Trump said his replacement would come from his list of 25 people who were being considered when he chose Neil Gorsuch in 2017. And two people from Colorado are on that list: Timothy Tymkovich and Allison Ide. And President Trump's last nominee, Justice Neil Gorsuch of Colorado, who, like Ide and Tymkovich, was on the 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. And University of Denver professor Joshua Wilson joins us to talk about this vacancy and what it would mean. And I think first and foremost, this could end up being the most conservative high court in decades, right?
Yes, yeah. This stands to turn the court seriously to the right. And some people say, you know, Kennedy, he was the swing justice, and he really only sided with liberals in a handful of issues. But what will fundamentally change is issues that would have been decided in a conservative way before will be decided in an even more conservative way now. And then in those special issues where Kennedy used to swing and go with the liberal bloc of the court, those are likely to change significantly as well. We'll
talk issues here in a moment, but first, let's go back to Merrick Garland and the Republican blockade. What do you think the chances are of a Democratic blockade here?
So, do you mean in terms of stopping him? The Democrats really don't have very much available to them to try to stop anything. The Republicans were able to stop Merrick Garland because they controlled Congress, they controlled the Senate. But the Democrats don't control the Senate. And then also the filibuster was removed by the Republicans as well. So there's very little that the Democrats can actually do on their own.
Because their reasoning was November, wait until after November.
Yeah, and so again, I think the Republican Party, they have
no chance, is what you're saying.
Well, the Democrats don't really have, the chance that the Democrats have to get past the election is if Trump overreaches. Basically, if Trump chooses a justice or somebody that he wants to serve on the court that will either have to withdraw or who will cause some Republican senators to switch and vote against.
So maybe someone who's highly controversial that some Republicans would not back.
Exactly, and that could then push a second nominee past November.
So then when we talk about Ide or Tymkovich, what do you think their chances are?
It's very hard to predict who will be picked. The thinking, I would think, that the Republicans should be engaging in right now is how do they satisfy social conservatives who are chomping at the bit and who are just elated about this retirement, but not, as I just said before, overreach. And it's a question of how they weigh those things, of what they can actually succeed with the first round.
And so what has been the implication of a Neil Gorsuch then?
As in, what's Gorsuch's effect been on the court?
Yes.
He has been the solid conservative that conservatives wanted Trump to appoint to the U.S. Supreme Court. When I was looking actually at this term's, kind of the statistics out of this term, Gorsuch sides with the other conservative justices basically in the mid to low 80s in terms of percentage. The liberal bloc of the court, he's in the 50s and the 60s. So he's very much on the conservative side of things.
So you mentioned some of the issues that are at risk, are such as?
So when you think about Kennedy as being, you know, he is conservative, but he'll occasionally side with liberals. The main issues that come up in my head are abortion politics, gay rights, and affirmative action. Those are really the issues that are going to be up. Gay rights would actually be kind of third on my list there, just because public opinion has changed so dramatically. It would be somewhat risky for the court to go after that. But I think that affirmative action and abortion politics are front and center.
Which do you think would be first to tackle it? Because, I mean, I suspect that then abortion rights would become a huge issue in the November races, right?
Yes, I think that's going to be the one that's highlighted the most of all. As the last kind of segment talked about too, that's really going to be the issue that goes into all of these primary debates, whereas I think affirmative action is going to be more on the back burner. And part of that is just what cases are in the queue that could reach the Supreme Court.
So what options then do Democrats have right now? Really none.
Yeah, they don't have much in terms of being able to stop this. There are basically 5 senators that everybody's looking at, 2 Republicans and 3 Democrats. So 3 Democrats who are up for election in states that Trump won, and then 2 Republican senators. And there's going to be a lot of fighting around trying to pull the senators from the other party into your camp to try to have an effect here.
Where does this leave the Christian right, for example?
The Christian right, as I said before, is elated with this, because this is the first time that you can really have a big shift on the court, where you can get a majority of anti-abortion justices on the court. But again, this goes back to, if Trump nominates somebody who is on the record as being anti-abortion, as being anti-Roe, that could lead to a really big fight that could lead to that person not getting the appointment or not getting the confirmation.
Well, we will all be watching and waiting to see who is nominated and where the process goes from there. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Back in a moment.